Okay, thank you for observing, and thank you for sharing your thoughts in between the caucus session. I think, again, even having you participate as an observer, I learned a lot, actually. I learned a lot of things that I need to do. I saw that things that I may have neglected to do, but hopefully clean up afterwards, like the reiteration of caucus, the reiteration of confidentiality before and after my time with them in the room. I try to be consistent with that every time. And I think it did develop a better rapport with them trusting me in the process. So tell me, what do you think, and what's your ideas?
So I want to say again, it was interesting at the very end, because all the way through, I felt like I was watching it being like trying to figure out what's going on here. And the way in which they ended, where the two attorneys said, "I'll talk to you tomorrow," almost made me think neither one of them ever intended to actually come to a conclusion today. It's almost like they were just setting the stage so that the attorneys, so their clients got to see them in action. So, and I don't think that, and yet you, like the whole way through, Stanley, like I just watched you. There were times where, as a naive mediator, I might have done it, but like you avoided every grenade that was set out, like, and there were lots of them. And I was like, okay, that's experience. That's why I really loved watching, because again, I think I'm like a naturally, I can be a good mediator in 80 hours of training. But the thing that like you don't get in the training, I mean, you get it, but you don't really get it, is like, okay, what are my personal landmines? Like, what are the things I'm going to step on if I don't consciously not step on them? And like, I watched you not step on them today. And yet, like when they asked, like, what would you do? Like, you were like, I mean, I can't tell you what to do, but here's, I think I hear you saying this and that, and that's the impression you're trying to give. That's the impression you're given. And I thought, okay, again, brilliant. Not like covering your ass, like not, I don't mean, pardon me, no, see why, like you were just genuine and authentic. And it didn't, I don't know, it was beautiful to watch. Like, loved it.
What do you think of the attorney style defense, attorney style with his client versus the plaintiff attorney style with their client?
Well, it was almost like the plaintiff was going through the motions of pretending to consult with her client. I don't mean to be so judgmental, but that's what it felt like. It felt more like she was, or it appeared more that she had some number that she had to meet. So while she perfunctory said, like, what do you think? My client has said, I didn't get the impression that I didn't think the client was driving the bus. In the defendant side, there was a real joint cooperation. What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Like they both, and I think they both were, it was like 2 against 1 in a way, because they were a team. And I mean, that's fair. They're an insurance company. They probably do these all the time. But I don't know. It's hard for me. It was hard for me to take off the lawyer hat, so, I mean, it was just hard for me and that's what I think one of my landmines is going to be, because again, I think I mentioned this in one of the sessions. I started out with a bias against the insurance, like thinking that they're just trying to hold the line. And I thought, okay, I got to keep my bias against the insurance under check, because that's a bias I'm going to have, because I want Charles to win. And then I found my bias shift, but it was good to be aware of that, because then I can manage it. Yeah, so it was interesting.
Yeah, mediator bias is very interesting. Everybody wants to, because of what we were conditioned, big bad company. It's a big bad company. And it's a small guy that needs assistance. But oftentimes, the small guy has an advocate that is prohibitive of resolution. Let's be clear. If he was pro se there, you don't think this would have settled for the amount he needed? Absolutely. I mean, he needed X. They overpaid by XYZ. They still came to the table with money. And guess what? All he needed was that magic number of whatever it was, 20 grand. They were going to go as high as 30,000. Done. But guess what? He has to pay for legal advocacy, and nothing wrong with that. We need that. Even there's a number that you can feel that had to be met on one side of the table. That's a resolution for today. And on top of that, it's the time. She pushed the whole time thing. I have a hearing in 20 minutes. I gotta go.
She did not, because she changed it first. First she had a deposition, then she had a hearing. So I was like, okay, what do you have? That she was full of it. She didn't have either.
She wanted to be done within the 3 hour mark, and that was that was it. She doesn't want it. She does not want to be divided from her client. Again, I'm not saying that's bad or wrong. I'm just saying
No, I know. Yep.
the dynamics you must be aware of. And again, even if I'm aware of it, I pretend like I don't even know.
Yep. And you really did. Because being just an observer, I just watched you. And I was like if I just watched you and didn't see the clients, I would have had no idea what was going on. And that to me is that's a consummate mediator, right? Is because by watching you, I couldn't tell a preference for either side. The only reason I knew what I knew was because I saw the clients.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for even sharing what you share right now. And the benefit of this to let people understand there is such a complexity in being a neutral, a ethical, impartial neutral, that even when we know, oh, I can push for that. I can push that. Push for what? To
right.
A check mark on, hey, I have a 95% settlement rate. It's going to settle. Hopefully with me, but if it doesn't, fine. I'm going to give them the tools. I'm going to give them everything that they need. Where both sides will say, this guy, this gal, this professional, everything we needed. So that's why you, at the end, bringing them together, having them understand that they did the best they could for today, but this will get it resolved. Some tweaking here and there. What's the best route? And that's hard.
Yeah.
You don't want to give that up.
Yeah. I just want to point out one more thing about you. You closed it, but you gave them optimism in a way. I wrote that down as you were doing some of that. I was like, this is some great language. The ways in which you acknowledge that we haven't reached something today, but you had such a hopefulness. And I was like, that was good. I was really.
Well, it's hard because I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a family, I got kids to play, I got bills to pay. You want to be that guy that, hey, he settles every one of my cases. But then when you do that, then you start doing things that's unethical. You're putting yourself in a situation that, you know what? I don't have to give them the law that I know exists. I don't have to tell that lawyer, stop the shenanigans. You're doing this for your client. I don't have to do that with every case. I have I have let some things like that be known in separate caucuses, just me and their advocate, but that doesn't happen in every case because there's no.
No, it came out. It came out. You were right. It all came out. I watched the process unfold, but it was like watching a rose bloom. You can't rush it. It was just one petal at a time, just opened, and at the end, there was nothing left that you needed to have said or pointed out. They did it. You facilitated a process that the truth came out and that all parties now know what's on the table and they'll be able to think about it tonight and figure it out. So that's settling. That's good settling. Without arm twisting, without separating the client. Everybody walked away being like, okay, Stanley facilitated a good process. You could tell by the way they treated you because they now know where they all stand. And that was the point.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. I really enjoyed